Hello there, Kyle Katarn here, coming back for another reaction. Today we are watching the Filmmakers Roundtable that Star Wars just posted for Skeleton Crew, which comes out in just about 2 weeks. Very excited for this show. It looks like a ton of fun. Without further ado, let's do it!
Just start yelling stuff. We'll get professional.
So this is the group, huh? These are the directors?
It's really fun to be able to write a show with your best friend and then make it with all of your friends. And we're really fortunate.
Especially when the show's about a bunch of friends.
Yeah, Skeleton Crew is about friends. It's by friends for friends.
Oh, that treasure
Starring
hoard.
Friends. This is what it's gonna be like.
Man, this is a goofy bunch.
Friendship.
This is gonna be a fun roundtable because I've known Ford since everyone calls him Ford. No one calls you Chris, right? Do you want to be called Chris in the roundtable?
No, that's weird. Just call me Ford.
Ford. We've known each other for such a long time. I've known you since I was 18. I've known you since I was 18. I've known you since I was 18.
Yep.
And
We just met like an hour ago?
Yeah.
What was your name?
we all went to school together at NYU, and I'm just a fan of you.
Right back at you guys.
On the third Spider-Man, I was shooting with Jon Favreau. We were just talking, and I gave him the very quick pitch, and he was like, would you want me to like produce it? Like, is that cool? It would be like me and Dave Filoni. And I was like, yes, Jon Favreau, that would be great.
I remember when I was working on season 3 of Mandalorian and doing the previs, the third floor team who animates and creates all of the previs, they were working on the show, on Skeleton Crew. And I was like, oh my gosh, how is it? And they were like, it's so good. I was just like, oh God, it sounds so good.
They were working on it as
there
far
was
back as Mando
already,
season 3,
like,
huh?
buzz on campus about it, you know?
It was a really easy yes. You told me the elevator pitch of the show and then mentioned that Jude Law was going to be starring in it. And I feel like I had just left set like 5 minutes earlier, making a movie with Jude and a bunch of kids. And I was like, oh, this is going to be exceedingly comfortable.
Yeah. And that was almost weird because I don't think we knew that when we first thought of you, and then we thought like, oh, is he gonna want to just repeat what he had done?
You're gonna want to work with Jude Law again?
And it was like, duh.
And kids.
Right, because he's just doing
Yeah,
the
sure.
Peter
The
Pan
answer was
thing all
yes.
over
There's a
again.
very specific Venn diagram that's like Jude Law, pirates, kids, and then David Lowery is in the
Yes.
center of that. That's the guy you get.
Yeah.
I'm just their roommate from college, so it's sort of, it was more like...
No, you're very qualified, Jake, very qualified.
Yeah,
like,
Jake.
maybe not that qualified, like it was more like...
Jake, that's legit not true.
Everyone keeps saying like I'm qualified a lot in a way that makes me feel like maybe I wasn't so qualified, but that's all right. It's fine. I just had to clean up after you guys at the end.
You have a particular set of skills.
Yes, exactly.
How did you get the Daniels to do this?
I know the Daniels through their DP, Larkin Seipel, who Jake has worked with. He shot all of Beef. And so we've all been friendly. And
Oh, they did
they're
Beef?
just, like,
Beef was
such
great.
Amazing, creative guys.
When we hired them, that was before Everything Everywhere came out. We knew they would be awesome. Just their whole aesthetic. It's just so original and amazing.
We wanted them, and we wanted Lee Isaac Chung. Minari is like the most moving story of like a little boy going into a new world that he doesn't understand, and that's basically a version of what this show is.
And Isaac, it was really cool because we got to work on season 3 of Mandalorian together. And so he was like one of the directors that had gotten the bug and was just like, yeah, I'll do another one.
Yeah. He had already understood the process, and that plus his ability to work with kids was just like made him so perfect.
You know something that I know.
There's like a weird camera shake going on in that wide shot of them at the table.
When you're doing anything as a director, you think about tone. Like that's a hugely important component, especially when you're a director who's coming in and directing an episode, where there are creators and writers and showrunners who are also directing and all of that. And so you really need to kind of not create the tone yourself. You need to adopt the tone.
I'm very excited for
And what
Bryce
was so
Dallas Howard's
cool is
episode.
because you guys just come with a tone. Like that's just inherent. And it, I think, allowed for there to be so much cohesiveness in the storytelling because you all have such a shorthand. And I mean, I feel kind of included in this as well. Like I know what you guys do. I know the vibe.
I feel like this would be much more useful to watch this roundtable having seen the
kind of
context
step
of
into
the
that.
show.
What's great about
Like,
having Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni.
a lot of this,
as
it's hard to
producers
access
is
what they're
like
saying
the
because we
ultimate
haven't seen the
safety
show
net.
yet.
They give you sort of the freedom to follow whatever creative path you want to go down, and they'll let you know. It's like bumper bowling. They'll let you know if you're going too
They've
far
got
one
the
direction or the
guardrails.
other. Yeah. People are always asking, what are the tonal inspirations for the show. And it's not like you and I have ever like consciously sat down and said, well,
Right, made a list.
yeah, a list of like, it's gonna be a little bit of this Amblin Wonder magic with a hint of this. That's just like in our DNA.
That's what everyone keeps
So
hearing
we
is
just talk about the
Amblin.
story and then write it, and then I think find ourselves surprised at what we're referencing when we're writing.
right.
It just
And-
comes out
yeah.
like,
Okay, but you have always loved pirates.
I
Because
have always
there
loved
was a sound
pirates.
project from freshman year where you guys are just doing all of the pirate voices.
Yeah.
It's like a pirate radio drama.
I love
So
pirates.
this is not coming
Always
from
love
nowhere.
pirates.
This is yeah.
It's fun to have a genre as an entry point
Yeah.
to help you sort of explore a different section
Yeah.
of the Star Wars world. And you know, we went back and watched like old pirate serials from like the 20s and 30s, and that was a really fun entry point.
But just the stuff that you connect with as a kid.
As a kid, you want to go on an adventure. As a kid, I grew up in Colorado in the middle of nowhere, and we just go for walks out in these like fields with nothing around, and you're just hoping that you go on a kind of Amblin adventure. That's just what we grew up with, and that's the kind of adventure that we were always looking for as kids.
Yeah.
I can relate to
Amblin
that.
reference is so a part of us because we were raised in that world.
There's that sense of wanting to go on an adventure as a kid, but I think anyone can remember that moment, like when you're a kid and you sort of expect that like maybe all adults will be safe and helpful, and then you realize that like adults are complicated and the world is not. And that's even in Goonies, you know, it's this like realization that adults don't always have your best interest at heart or want to do things. I just thought there was something really, really resonant about that.
And there's a really interesting tonal balance. Like the thing that made those Amblin movies have that spirit was something that Kathy Kennedy would talk about. She would say they were grown-up films that just happened to star kids. So you'd make 4 10-year-old
Totally.
kids your main characters, but it's not a kid's show. It's not a kid's film. You're still making the stakes really real. You're still making it dangerous. You're combining that, you know, childlike sense of wonder with a real dangerous world and a
Yeah,
Star Wars
yeah.
show that can sit next to all the other things in the Star Wars environment. Having Jude on set is like,
Woo!
Jude Law is
Yes,
so
behind the
amazing.
scenes footage. Let's go.
And he was like sort of the co-director, and like in so many ways. 'cause
Oh,
he's
that's
there
such a
with
cool
the
set
kids
on the
in
volume like
almost
that.
Every scene, keeping them focused, running lines with them, you know, making sure they hit their marks. Like he was just like, in addition to being like an incredible actor and wonderful man, like he also just helped us.
I mean,
so
Jude
much
has
with the
kids, right? I mean,
It's
that's got to make
such
it
a
easy.
gift to have an actor like that who not only can just, you know, give you that incredible performance, but also show the next generation of talent.
I just, as an example, I just remember seeing him like in the cockpit, and he's, you know, holding the yoke, and he's looking, he's seeing all this stuff, and it's just a blue screen. And it's like he seemed more lost in his imagination than even the
Yeah.
kids. And they would look at that and be like, okay, I see. You really have to like really
Yeah.
imagine really hard.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's like, in a way, him in real life and his character are kind of like a grown-up version of all of the kids
Yeah.
on the crew. And yeah, he brought like the grown-up side of that sense of wonder and imagination.
We'll make a partnership. But we have to move fast.
Another incredible thing about making the show is that when your main characters are 4 10-year-old kids, every day on set is like the greatest day in the world because they're so amazed at every single thing that's going
Sure.
on.
That's the morale booster.
Yeah, like everyone has a great time because the
That's not
kids are
exclusive
having
to
a great
10-year-olds,
time,
right?
you know?
I'd be amazed at
They're
every
seeing
single thing too if I was
animatronics
on the
and
set.
puppets and just all kinds
Look
of
at that.
crazy
Look at
special
that
effects. They're
practical
having so
droid.
much
That's
fun, and
amazing.
Our 4 kids were just such
Yeah,
a
10-year-old me would
fantastic
not be able to
little
handle
group.
it. I would have
Like,
to
I love
be
them so much.
removed
It
from the
reminds you
set.
of why you got into this business in the first place. So that like you're getting
Yeah.
to pretend, you're getting to play, you're getting to invent and have so much fun doing it. And so often filmmaking can become a job, but it's not. And when you're working with children, it reminds you that this is all make-believe and it's so much fun.
Robbie was doing all the jobs. He would always do the clapperboard.
Worker.
Anytime anyone would let him, he wanted to do that. He wanted to call action and cut. He wanted to learn what all the jobs were.
He also started the trend of mustaches on set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mustaches on set?
They all came dressed up as various crew members on Halloween.
Robbie came and dressed as
Robbie was dressed as
John
me.
Watts. He showed up to the Starbucks. Yeah. And
Oh, that's
his
adorable.
earphones, Yeah.
Based on what the concept of the story was going to be, we knew they had to start in a more safe planet. It was an opportunity to
Yeah, and
design
no
a
one in
new
the galaxy
thing.
knows
Like
about this planet.
the
That's
kids'
information we know.
bikes were
What's the
was
story
really
there?
the place to start, because I think when you're designing a speeder bike, it looks really cool.
Yeah. Like,
So
how do you make Whimsbike be kind of
we were
corny?
like, come back. We need to bring in more Huffy. You
Yeah.
know, and
They have, like, little tassels on
and
it.
we
I
put
love the
on it,
tassels.
And you know, there's tassels in space.
Are there tassels in space?
There
These
are
the
now.
kinds of
There are
questions
now.
They're
that
space
would make
tassels.
You know,
You know,
Spassels.
I tell Dave Filoni and be like, are there tassels?
yeah, can we
in
do
Star
that?
Wars?
And the scariest thing he would say is, well, there are now.
Yeah.
I'm excited for people to see Skeleton Crew because it's the same Star Wars universe that you know and you love. It's just a new perspective. The ability to see that world through the eyes of 4 10-year-old kids.
Yeah, I'm excited for
I
this.
think
It sounds
is
so
a
fun and fresh.
completely new way to enter this world that some of us know and love, some of us maybe haven't ever really experienced before.
Yeah, we were just drawn to that idea of these kids stumbling into the larger galaxy and not understanding it all. That was just natural to us, but it turned out that it's a great way for people who don't know the universe to get introduced to it because they're along with the kids. Or if
Yeah.
you know all about it, you know all the things the kids are getting wrong and messing up, which is funny and tense.
Yeah, it's fun to be able to make something that works if you don't know anything about Star Wars and also works if you know everything about Star Wars.
Yeah, and then those two people can finally be friends with each other.
Great job.
Oh, look at these dorks. I love it. Man, this is going to be a fun time. I really can't wait. And I think that what they were just saying at the end there is probably the most important takeaway of the whole thing, is that this is going to be accessible to people who don't know anything about Star Wars. And personally, I can't wait to share this with my nephews and nieces, some of which are perfectly the same age as these kids. So they're going to be able to really connect with these characters, and it will probably be like just yet another foothold in their journey towards being Star Wars fans, because, like, you know, I've been showing them all the things, age appropriate, of course, and I think they're finally ready for the next step. So Skeleton Crew is going to be it. I'll report back with my success at, indoctrinating the next generation of Star Wars fans. Yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun. I think this is going to be a nice change of pace. Skeleton Crew is going to kind of be a reset in a lot of ways. It's taking place, it's a contemporary show. It's taking place at the same time as, like, Mando season 1 and or 2, I think. I heard season 2. I don't quote me on that, though. As always, I'm here for the Easter eggs. I'm here for the references. The practical puppets, the droid SM-33, that's my jam. That is my jam, my peanut butter, and my jelly. I'm very much looking forward to a Star Wars show that doesn't take itself super seriously. Like, if that roundtable discussion was any indication, the directors don't really take it super seriously. And that's a good sign, in my opinion, because recent Star Wars tends to skew a little bit maudlin for my taste. I think that there's something very, like, lighthearted, whimsical, and oftentimes campy about Star Wars that really can't get lost in the mix. For it to feel authentic to me, anyway, you know. Everyone's opinion is valid, and everyone has their own preference of how they like, you know, these subgenres of Star Wars that we're splitting into these days. But for me, I'm definitely a fan of the lighthearted elements. Yeah, this looks really fun. I can't wait to watch Skeleton Crew. Reactions will be dropping right here on the channel. Full-length uncuts will be up on Patreon. There's a link in the description of the video if you want to check those out. Can't wait, man. 2 more weeks. We're almost there. Thanks for watching, everybody. And as always, may the Force be with you.